Hi everybody, this is Lainey with Camp Joy Farms. I want to start today with my series on seeds called Seedsapalooza. I'm going to start with corn. I just love seeds. I love to buy them. I love to talk about them. I love to hear what other people are growing. So please, in the comments, tell me what you like to grow. Tell me if you have a favorite variety that you really love and depend on every year. Tell me if you've inherited some seeds that someone's entrusted to you to keep growing. I would love to know about it. I love hearing the stories about especially heirloom seeds. But any type of growing stories. I love everything to do with it. So that's why I'm excited to do this series. We're going to jump in to Seedsapalooza. Before we get going on corn, you kind of have to decide how you're going to present which corn seeds you have. Just your yellows, you want to talk about your whites, this, that, and the other. I thought I would go ahead and talk about the 4 types of corn. And I broke my seeds down on the table in front of me into the seeds that I have and broke them down into the 4 types of corn. I thought I would do this because if you're going to open a seed catalog and look at their corn, not always, not all catalogs, but your good catalogs, your better catalogs, they're going to break the corn down into the different categories that the corns are rated. And those categories are standard, sugary enhanced, super sweet, or synergistic. Don't let any of this confuse you. It can get confusing, believe me, and it might as I'm talking a little bit. I don't want it to confuse you. I just want to let you know that that's how the corns are broken down. I'm going to explain it a little bit more as I go through, and we're just going to rock and roll and jump in. If you want to do any more research on corn, on the different types of corn, I just trust that everybody out there knows how to Google. You know how to get on the internet. You know how to find out the information. A lot of your better seed catalogs will have a lot of explanations in there for you. So mine will be brief, but it'll kind of keep it going, and it'll show you what I have and why I have them. And sometimes I choose things because I want to grow several different types of corn, so that might be the way you choose to grow it. So here we go. One more thing. And then one more thing. There's 2 more things I need to talk to you about. You're going to hear me say this one's a hybrid or this one's an heirloom. The hybrids are just corns or variety vegetable. Same theory for any vegetable. They are this parent and this parent. They were bred together and selected and through a lot of different trial and error to make a whole new plant. And that new plant that comes out of that is called a hybrid. And so if it's not like that, if it's just a true plant that has been growing as it is for many, many years, and when you plant the seed from that plant and it grows the same exact plant again, that's a true plant, and that is called an heirloom if it's been doing that for 50 years or more. Heirloom is a designation, and they designate it an heirloom if it has been a true plant growing like that without being bred out in any other different direction for 50 years. If you hear the words open pollinated, that's the same as an heirloom, except it doesn't have that designation of being a true plant for 50 years. I'm simplifying it. I trust that you can do your own research into all of this stuff. So I'm just kind of giving you the basics. Some of the seeds that I show you may look pink. They may look red to you, orange, however your computer screen is. This is not red corn seeds. This is yellow corn or white corn or bicolor or whatever. They just coat some corn seeds in liquid fungicide to make it to where when you plant it, it has a better chance of surviving soil-borne diseases, seed-borne diseases. It really helps. I noticed the ones that I have coated are all hybrids. I'm not sure if that's just a thing they do with hybrids or not. It just seems that the heirloom and the Dent Corns that I have are not coated, and the hybrids that I have are. So maybe that's a thing. I'm sorry. I do have a third thing that I need to show you. A lot of the seeds I'm fixing to show you have this logo at the bottom. That logo right there. And it says Service Seed Division. And Service Seed Division is out of Amory, Mississippi. And it's a distributor that sells seeds to your feed and seed stores, your co-ops, your farm stores. So a lot of the farm stores now that you go into, I know down here in Mississippi, Louisiana, probably all across the South, they have these seeds that are unique to them in their stores. They're wonderful seeds, and I just find that everything that I plant from those seeds does fine. A lot of them are geared for our area, so they do really good. And if you really were to sit down and evaluate the cost per seed, they are not expensive at all. Some of their corn can get to $20 or so a bag for a pound bag, but most of it is like $8.50. I even have, there's one $7.95. I even have a bag right here that's $3.95. So $3.95 for a pound of corn is a very good price. So I love to shop my co-ops. I love to shop the feed and seeds. And usually if I'm out riding and we pass one, we go back because I really love to shop there. All right, I'm going to show you what I have. I'm going to show you my standard corns first. This is the oldest types of corn. The sugar in standard corn, that might be very, very sweet when you pick them, but it turns to starch kind of quick. So you really need, if you're going to plant a standard corn, and that's why it's good to know what type of corn you have, because how you can harvest it and store it and use it is dependent on how quick those sugars turn to starch. So the standard type corns, which are a lot of your heirlooms and things like that, they have sugar that will turn to starch very quickly. So you have to use them when you pull them out of the field. You really need to not just set them on your counter and wait a day or so to take the husk off and deal with them. You really need to get them in refrigeration pretty quickly, and then go ahead and process them and use them, put them up the freezer, whatever you're going to do with them pretty quickly. Or, you know, it turns to starch and then they just don't, you can still eat them. It's not going to hurt you, but they just don't taste as good. They don't taste as sweet as they would if you had processed them when you took them out of the field. First one is from Seed Savers Exchange. And you can't read all the little words on here. That's not why I'm holding the packets up. But I really want you to be able to see the packaging from these companies, so you'll recognize them if you see them other places. But it's Seed Savers Exchange. And this is a variety called Country Gentleman. It's a white corn, and it's an heirloom. Anything you get from Seed Savers Exchange is going to be an heirloom corn. That's what they do. They try to save heirloom varieties, and so everything you order from them is going to be an heirloom. But this is a shoe peg type corn. Instead of the kernels being in a straight row down the corn, you know, all the way around the corn in straight rows, shoe peg corns, they're everywhere. They're just dotted everywhere all over the corn. That's how they grow. So I haven't grown a shoe peg corn yet, so I'm looking forward to growing some of this Country Gentleman as soon as I can. I'm looking forward to growing every seed that I have as soon as I can. I wish I could. I wish I could put 10 or 15 out there and juggle that right now, but you really have to pay attention to your sow dates, your harvest dates. You have to pay attention to when they're pollinating and things like that. You really don't want to mix a whole bunch of corns out in your plots, you know, unless you space them out really far, unless you really know that this one's going to be through pollinating before this one starts pollinating, because they'll cross really quickly. But that being said, I am going to have 3 of them out there this year. The second standard variety I have is called the Golden Cross Bantam. Now this is just a regular Ferrymore seed, but I love these because what happened was there was a grocery store near me that put all their seeds from 2019 into a buggy and put them up near the register. So every time I'd go in there, I kept seeing that buggy full of seeds, and I had a lot of seeds. I didn't really need any more seeds, but nobody was buying them. They were just sitting there in that buggy. And so one night I went in there, and I don't know what got into me, but I just asked the manager, I said, would you just sell me all of those seeds in that buggy for one money, you know, to take them off your hands? I said, I've been watching them and I noticed they're not selling. He said, $40. I said, how about 20? I think we settled on 35. If I don't have a calculator with me right now, but if you divide $35 by how many seed packs I got, it was 9 cents a pack. When I got home and I counted them, I had 373 packs of seeds. I was so excited. And they were all different varieties of all kind of things. And I have used them. I have grown them. I have used them. So these I call out of my mega deal pile. And it's called Golden Bantam. What is special about Golden Bantam is everybody used to eat white corn. Everybody had white corn. They grew white corn. Then a man started selecting and crossbreeding, and he created this hybrid corn called Golden Bantam, which was the first yellow corn. I'll put it a little closer. It was the first yellow corn that was put on the market and put in catalogs, and people were like, oh, yellow corn, and they started buying it. And now, well, that's all we see most of the time is yellow corn. We're so used to yellow corn that to see a white corn, we think it's something special sometimes. But this was the first yellow corn that was really marketed and everything. The next one is Golden Queen. I ended up with 2 bags of those, probably because I went on one visit and bought one, and I went on another and bought another, not even realizing what I had. I do keep an inventory on my computer. I don't know if that's sounds a little obsessive or not, but I do keep an inventory on my computer of all my seeds. I just love it helps me when I'm making a planting schematic to have that list that I can just briefly look at. I don't want to always be getting my seeds out and have the bags get in danger of ripping or anything like that. I just want to be able to look on my computer and keep up with things. So I do keep a computer list of them. But anyway, this is Golden Queen. This is a yellow corn, and it's a hybrid. And I got these in Franklinton, Louisiana, at a store called Circle T Feed and Seed. And I'm embarrassed to say that when I walk in, they say, "Hey, Lainey," because they know me now and they know why I'm there. And they always want to know how my garden's doing and everything. The next one is another hybrid. It's called Io Chief. It says it right there. It's very small. They put everything else huge, but the actual name of the corn is very small. It's called Io Chief. It's coated as well with a liquid fungicide. The reason I bought this was because Wilhite Seed Company that sells it, that's their name there, they said that it's a very good drought-resistant corn. Sometimes in Louisiana, it's so wet, we don't know what to do. We flood, everybody's yards are soggy. It's a mess. And then it won't be. Then it'll dry up, and it won't rain for a while, and your soil gets just cracky like you're in a desert. So I like to kind of have a variety of seeds, some that'll do well in soggy soil, some that'll do well in dry soils, and try them out, because we never know. Sometimes it gets so hot and so dry, especially, going towards June and July sometimes, especially if you want to plant a fall corn to harvest, where you plant it in the summer to harvest in the fall. Well, planting it in the summer, our ground is sometimes so dry and so hot that it's unreal. Now, I water stuff, but still, it helps to have a corn seed that you can put in the ground that's a little tolerant of that. So anyway, the next one that I have, I got this from my mega deal at the grocery store. It's the same as this that I got from Circle T, but this one is coated. This one is not. This was probably a Fairy Morse seed, but it's called Silver Queen. It's just my writing on the bag there, but it's called Silver Queen. Now, Silver Queen, you might have even had, because Silver Queen is a very popular corn. It's a white corn. It's a hybrid, but it's been around a long time. A lot of times you'll see Silver Queen at produce stands and all that for sale. So it's a very popular corn. This one is called Stolls Evergreen. I think I bought 2 bags like this, and I planted some last year, so this is the rest of it here. But anyway, it's called Stolls Evergreen. It's also a white corn. Now, this is an heirloom variety, and it is a very old heirloom variety. It's been around a long time. When I grew it last year, I was very happy with it. If you can get Stolls Evergreen seeds, which that you should be able to, they're available pretty well. It's a very pretty corn. It grew good for me, and I was very satisfied with it, and really can't wait to grow it again. The last one in the standard variety is just one called a Sweet G90. I only have half a pack of this because I did throw a few out one time. I didn't have good luck with it, but I think it might have just been me. It might have just been the conditions that particular time, because in South Louisiana, it is sold a lot. When I go in the feed stores, they have it in bulk for farmers and things like that. So it's obviously grown a lot down here. I didn't have a lot of luck with it, but that doesn't mean I'll quit on it. I'll try the rest of this pack. I don't like things to go to waste, so I'll try to use it again. The next one is called Sugary Enhanced. That's the second category. I'm going to read this to you because I don't want to get it too confused. These Sugary Enhanced varieties have a modifying gene in them that makes sugar levels in the kernels go up, and it extends the flavor. So they have modified the genes of these corn kernels to make the sugar levels to go up, to make it sweeter, and it extends their flavor. And I'm assuming, this not scientific, but I'm assuming that all Sugary Enhanced corn is hybrids. All the ones that I have, that I own, that are Sugar Enhanced are hybrids. And I checked a couple of catalogs, and all the ones in their catalogs are hybrids. So I assume that they all are. There again, that might not be, exactly accurate. There's always seems to be an exception to things. First one I have is called Argent Sweet Corn. Very, very pretty, pure white corn. I haven't grown it yet, but I want to. I love ordering so many seeds. This one came from Hoss Tools. They're out of Norman Park, Georgia. Many of you may be familiar with Hoss. They have a show that they do every Thursday night called the Row by Row Show, and I watch it faithfully. I'll try to watch it on Fridays or on the weekend. I love their information. I love their show. It's a family business, and they're just a really good company. I have a lot of seeds from Hoss. The next one is called Delectable. This is a 1 pound bag, I believe, and it's a bicolor corn. The bicolor just means it's white and yellow, and that makes beautiful corn, and it usually just tastes so good. I got this from Circle T in Franklinton. The next one, again from Hoss, is called Incredible Sweet Corn. Incredible Sweet Corn, and it's a yellow corn. Looks so good. This one I got from Circle T. It's called Candy Corn. Candy corn. I noticed the kernels in this one are smaller. They're a lot smaller than some of my other kernels, but I'm going to grow it this year. I've got it marked out to put in my lower garden. I'm going to do a pretty big square area of it. The reason I'm growing it, it's a hybrid. The other two that I'm going to grow are heirlooms, and I'll explain them when I get to them. But the reason that I want to grow this corn is because it says that when it's ready to harvest, it will actually stay on the stalk for up to 2 weeks without you having to pick it. That's a good thing. When you get overwhelmed in the spring, when everything is coming in all at once sometimes, which it does, it's good to have a few of your varieties that will hold on the plant for a little while. Sometimes you have certain green beans that are like that. Green beans like to be picked every day. But some varieties that you buy, like there's one called Lazy Housewife. And that's what the thing is about Lazy Housewife, is that you can kind of leave it out there a little while longer than other beans and it'll do fine. And this corn is kind of like the Lazy Housewife of corn, is what they say. So I'm hoping. I've never grown it before, but that's why I bought it. And that's why I want to try it this year, because while I am going to have a lot going on in my gardens, I'm going to have 3 big gardens. If I can grow at least one variety of corn that will wait on me a little bit, I appreciate that, so I'm going to try it. The next one is a bicolor corn. It's 2 packs. Got them from my mega deal. This is called Peaches and Cream, and it's a bicolor. It's yellow and white. And it's just a really good variety that a lot of you may have already tried. These Fairy Moore seeds are what you'll find, at your Home Depots and places like that. So a lot of people across the country probably grow those. The last Sugary Enhanced corn I have is called Tuxana, Tuxana, and it's a white corn. I haven't grown it yet. I just got it last year, but I'm eager to try it. It's from a company called Native Seed Search. I found them on the internet a while back. They sell seeds that are pretty much geared to grow around the Tucson, Arizona area, in that area of Arizona, New Mexico, and places like that. It's a little arid there, but a lot of their seeds are bred to be heat tolerant. To have a corn that says it's really good for heat tolerant and all that kind of stuff, I'm really excited to try it. Winding down here. Super sweets. Okay, the super sweet corns are sometimes called extra sweets, and they have a shrunken gene in them that causes them to have shrunken kernels. Let me show you. This pack has really full, plump kernels. Okay, if you look at the Obsession corn that I have, and this is a little bit that I have left from last year. but it's easy to show you in this Ziploc bag. But these kernels are kind of dried up and shrunken. They're indented and things like that. So that shows you that it's a super sweet. It's even sweeter. This is their definition. These super sweets are even sweeter than the other 3 types of corn. So they're made to be super sweet. And they're made to have a longer shelf life than the others. So that's a good thing. And all of these are hybrids as well. I have Obsession, which is a bicolor corn. I got this from Park Seed Company. And it's very, I grew it last year, obviously. You can kind of see the dirt in my bag from when I was reaching in and out trying to get seeds out. It did not get real tall, but I was shocked when it finally started hitting, because I would think that it only had 1 ear on there, and then the next thing you know, I'd see another ear and another ear, and it just kept producing. And one of those little plants might end up with 3 or 4 ears on it, which is phenomenal. Some corn is really just bred to have 1 ear per stalk. Some corn will give you 2 ears. If you can get more than 2 ears off of corn, you can get 3 or 4 ears off, that's successful. So I was very happy last year with the Obsession, because it just kept putting out and putting out. It did really good, and it tasted really good. The second super sweet I have is called Pack Out, and it's from Johnny's Selected Seeds. Very good seed company. And this one was supposed to be, they just flat out said it's great for the South. So I usually will, I'll fall for it, you know. If they tell you that something is really good for the South, then that's a good encouragement for me. I don't feel like I'm fighting the variety when I know that it'll grow in the South. So I went ahead and bought that. It's a bicolor corn. I haven't grown it yet, but it's on my list. Next is, I only have a couple of packs, so it won't take but a second. But next is your Synergistic Corns. And these are composed of varieties, and it could get confusing. The Synergistic corn is made up of 75% of the Sugary Enhanced corn and a 25% portion of a super sweet corn. So it's a hybrid, and they combined it through genetics to make corns that are supposed to be sweet and taste and stay tender and creamy. It works because they're usually delicious. The first one I have is Providence. It's a bicolor from Hoss Tools. I'm going to plant that soon. Now this one is Honey Sweet Select. I'm sorry, I have the top torn off. I did throw some of those out there last year and completely neglected them. So I never did end up making it out there to fertilize them. And so they didn't do that good, but I'm going to take full responsibility for that. I'm not going to blame it on the seed from Hoss Tools or their supplier. I will take full responsibility for that. Last year was hit and miss. I've explained why. My husband had a lot of health issues last year. I just wanted a garden to kind of have a little place of respite to go and to walk through and everything. I tried my best to keep up with it, but I didn't always make it out there to fertilize on schedule and to do things like that. And one of the things that took the hit was that Honey Select corn. The last variety, those are the 4 varieties that corn is put into that I just went over with you. However, that's not the only types of corn. They do make corn that they call Dent Corn, and I have a few here. I love Dent Corn. I love them. I think every one I have on my list is heirloom. I don't know if that means that all dents are heirloom. There again, I hate to make statements of all or, everyone, things like that, because I could be wrong. But the ones I have are Dent Corns. The reason they call them this is because they don't have the pretty rounded kernels like you see on most corn. Dent Corns kernels, when you shuck the corn, is flat or indented, depending on how much starch has been pulled out of those kernels. When the kernels start to shrink, the starch will actually suck the kernels in. So I'm telling you right now, though, it doesn't matter. I mean, I don't care how beautiful my corn looks when I shuck it. It's how it tastes. It's how it grows. It's whether it was easy to grow, whether it was hardy, and things like that. That's really all I look for. I'm going to go over my list with you and show you what I have. I hope you get excited about some of these brands and try them. This is Hickory King Yellow Corn, and the seed company is Annie's Heirloom Seeds. And Annie's is out of Wisconsin. I have a catalog for Annie's. But I haven't grown it yet. I just got this last year. But it's supposed to have huge kernels on it, which is good. I mean, if you're putting up food, it's always good to have, big peas or big kernels of corn, things like that. It goes a long way. And it's supposed to be really great for roasting and grits and cornmeal and tortillas and things like that. So I'm going to try this corn. It's an heirloom. It's been around a long time. Last year, I grew this particular one. This is called Mosby Prolific. Mosby Prolific. I'm going to tell you, I was so happy with the Mosby Prolific. It did not care that I was busy. It did not care that I didn't get out there to it all the time. It just grew. It grew taller, faster, and more hardy than any corn I've planted so far. And I was so happy with it. And it's a white corn. And what is special about it is that it has very long and large ears on it. And they literally, when they got full grown and their tassels turned brown and they were ready to pick, I mean, some of them felt like they were as long as my arm here, from the bottom of the corn cob till the tip of the green of the stalk. It was of the shuck. It was amazing. And they were full and just white and beautiful when you took the shucks off. I was so happy with the Mosby Prolific. It is a very, very old variety. Very old. It's been around a long time. So if you can get a hold of Mosby Prolific, try your co-ops, your feeding seeds, or, off the internet if you have to. I would encourage you to grow Mosby Prolific. The next one is called Pencil Cob Corn. And I have been seeing that in catalogs. I've been seeing it on internet websites. And I don't know why. I just never really got interested in it, never ordered it. And then all of a sudden I thought, well, what is it about pencil cob? Because I kept seeing that people liked it and grew it and stuff. So I looked into it, and what it is, it's literal. It's got a corn cob on it that is really thin. Not as thin as a pencil, but it's thin. The kernels themselves, though, are sometimes, an inch long. The kernels are pretty huge considering what corn kernels normally are. And the cobs are really skinny. So that's very interesting. And this is an heirloom brand that's been around a while. And also, it's a shoe peg type. It's like the Country Gentleman that I told you about earlier, the standard variety. This pencil cob corn is a shoe peg. So those large kernels that are so unusual looking don't grow in little perfect rows around the cob. They're just here, there, and yonder all around the cob. And I just think that's so interesting. And I want to grow it. I want to grow all of them yesterday. That's what I want. The next one that I have is called Yellow Trucker's Favorite. Yellow Trucker's Favorite. I think there's a White Trucker's Favorite too. This Yellow Trucker's Favorite is supposed to be, it's a yellow corn, but it's supposed to be really, really, really good for grinding. If you're into grinding your corn for cornmeal and things like that, the Yellow Trucker's Favorite is supposed to be really good for that. I wanted to be sure and tell where I got it in case you live near the area. I got it in Kentwood, Louisiana. It's about an hour away from me, but they have a wonderful co-op there just called the Kentwood Co-op. And it's a wonderful place. I found a lot of seeds there. Bought some buckets and other things. So anytime, if you're in Mississippi, Kentwood is right by Mississippi. So if you're in Mississippi, come down to Louisiana and go to our co-ops too. This is my last dent corn, and I'm very, very excited about it. I'll just put it closer to you. It's called John Hawk corn. John, like a first name, Hawk, H-A-U-L-K. I got this from Clemson University in South Carolina. They have a website, and I'll put the link to all the different companies that I got these seeds from, not the co-ops, because that's more local and everything, but the companies that have websites and all that stuff. I'll put the links at the bottom. Clemson University, if you just Google Clemson University Heirloom Seed Collection or something like that, the website will pop up. You don't order off of it like a true ordering website, though, but they put on there all the varieties of heirloom seeds that they have in their seed bank. And you can click on each variety and read about it and all that stuff, go through the list. And then when you decide what you want to order, you basically just write a check and mail it to them. I ordered several of the varieties of beans and things that they said were from Louisiana and that were prolific in Louisiana. So I had never heard of them, but Clemson University is preserving those heirloom varieties. So I definitely wanted to order them and bring them back to Louisiana and try them out at some point. But anyway, this corn is supposed to grow 12 to 15 feet tall. It could potentially be taller than my high tunnel if it grows to 15 feet tall. So I'm definitely all in. I want to try it. I'm going to put it in my little upper garden area, which I'm also kind of calling my cottage garden, because I'm going to fence it in and grow a few little heirloom things that I want to grow in there. And this is one of them, John Hawk corn. I hope it does good. I have high hopes for it. I'm only going to plant half my seeds just to kind of see how it does. I'm going to plant about 21, 22 seeds in 3 rows and just see how it does and save some of my other seeds in case I need to replant something next year. But if it does good, I'll definitely designate a few of the ears to dry on the corn and save seeds. But I'm so excited about it. This has grown a lot. It has been grown a lot for like 100 years in the South Carolina area. So if you live in South Carolina and you've never heard of this corn, check into it. Check into the Clemson University website and see if you can get a hold of some of these seeds. I highly recommend it. I have one more bag of corn that just kind of falls out of all those categories. It's a popcorn. And this is called the Japanese Holeless popcorn. Big old bag of popcorn. It says it's popcorn on it, but when I bought it, I didn't see that. I just thought it was regular corn. I got home and realized it was popcorn. I really don't know when I'm going to plant this much popcorn seed, but I have it if I need it. So, and the Japanese Holeless, what makes it a little bit different from other popcorn seeds is, you know how when you bite into a piece of popcorn, sometimes it has that little tough part in the kernel that gets in your teeth and just, can hurt you sometimes when you bite into it. Well, these are not supposed to have that. They're supposed to be a soft popcorn when you pop it. So that's all I know about Japanese Holeless popcorn. I watched Travis from Lazy Dog Farm and his family plant some popcorn this year. I think they did the glass gem variety. It's not the same as this, but it did inspire me to maybe go ahead and try to do some popcorn. I really had just never thought about it. You have to kind of think of what you have time to spend on, and I had really never thought about popcorn, but I might do that this year. So see there, I'm just like you. I'm a customer just like you. When I see other people growing things, it kind of excites me to grow it. So we just all have to work together. The main thing is grow something. Put the seeds in the ground. Don't worry if you're an expert. Don't worry if you understood anything about the 4 varieties of corn or anything like that. If you go to a store and you see a corn you like, get it. Just get a pack. There's a couple of things I will tell you about corn that you do need to know if you're going to grow it, but it's simple. First of all, grow it in squares or rectangles. Don't just put a long row of corn, like say on one side of your garden, and grow it like that. Just always remember with corn, it needs to be grown in blocks. And this is because when the corn grows up and it has those tassels at the top, that's where the pollination little granules are. I'm using terms that probably a scientist would laugh at, but that's the way I look at it. It's like they're little granules and they rain down when the wind blows and when you shake them or when they move around. And those little granules will fall. They're like little small stick little things, but they will fall on the silks that are coming out of the ears of corn. You know how the corn will have little hair looking like a mane of hair. Well, when those little granules fall on a single strand of that silk, that's what fertilizes that kernel down in the cob. Every silk that's hanging out of that has to get fertilized by some of those granules to make a kernel on the inside. Each silk goes to one specific kernel. So when you pull the shuck off of a corn and you see just rows and rows of kernels, it's really a miracle. Each ear is really a miracle because it got pollinated in such a way that every little silk got touched and pollinated, and it made those kernels in there. If you pull the shucks off and you see half of the corn that's looking okay and the other half that's just bare, or there's pockets, that didn't, that's because those little silks did not get pollinated. And once I learned that, it's really to me a miracle that they get pollinated the way they do when they're just dependent on wind and things like that. The second thing I wanted to tell you about corn, and I have been trying to do this, is Greg from Hoss Tools. I learned like everyone else. On his show, he said one time that he fertilizes his corn when it hits 8 inches, coming up out of the ground, it hits 8 inches. He'll, you take this little side of your hoe, or I have a little triangle shaped little hoe that's shaped like that, and you just dig it along the side of your corn, an inch or two down in the ground, and that's where he sprinkles his fertilizer. And then you take the dirt on either side of your corn and you kind of hill it to the bottom of your corn. You kind of hill it up. He does that at 8 inches and 12 inches. When it gets about 12 inches, a foot tall, a little more than that, corn can grow at different levels. So in general, when your corn gets about a foot tall, you go out there and you dig your little trench again, and you put your fertilizer in it, and then you toss dirt over that trench and toss it up onto the roots of your corn, and you toss dirt again, and that's called hilling it up. And it helps keep your corn from just falling over. I hope you've enjoyed the first edition of Seedsapalooza. I'll try to come out as often as I can with a different variety of vegetable, and we'll talk about what seeds I have. But it's really all depending on you also telling me what you have, what you like to grow, and give me some ideas. I might go out and get those same seeds if I can find them. I hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for being with me this evening. Y'all have a great day. Bye-bye. Hi, I just wanted to do a little commercial at the end of this video to tell you that as much as I love buying seeds, talking about seeds, collecting them, looking at seeds in catalogs and just studying them and planting them, of course, I also love to share them if I can. When I found that mega deal at the grocery store and I got 373 packs of seeds for $35, I was so excited, but I knew I obviously couldn't use 373 packs of seeds. So after a few months, what I did was I sat in my guest bedroom, I spread out seeds all over the floor, and also used some of my seeds that I already had, some of my bulk seeds. And I made little gift bags, and I put 17 varieties of vegetables in each gift bag. I just took those little brown lunch bags that you can buy at the grocery store, and I made 21 of those. I put 17 varieties of vegetables in each bag. Every bag was the same. Every bag had tomatoes, cucumbers, melons, just peppers, everything. Easy things to grow, bush beans, things like that, corn. And so I put them in the little brown paper bags. I wrote on the outside of the bags, "Enjoy the seeds, happy gardening." And I put them in a metal bucket and set them at the end of my road. So anybody driving by saw the big sign on my metal bucket that said "Free Seeds." And during the day, I went down there a few times just to check it out, and one by one, they were disappearing. So people were stopping and getting the seeds. And I never have known who took them or whether they even used them to garden with or anything, but I've always hoped that they did. So that's an idea, and you could do the same thing. Put a bucket out on your driveway with free seeds in it and share your bounty with your neighbors. So let's do that so that everybody can be growing, everybody can have food security to take care of their children and things like that. And we can all enjoy the seeds that our nature has to offer. Thank you.